What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from IFCA.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to take it to 11. Decided for the... I don't know what that means. Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues. This is, once again, directed by Rob Reiner, and we are returning Spinal Tap, which are the real people. They're real people, okay? I hear rumors online that supposedly these are played by actors. They're real to me. Spinal Tap. And they're back after a hiatus of sorts, um, to play one more concert because you know what? The audience demanded it. And things just happened to open up for them. You know, Stormy Daniels canceled her tour date, and there was a spot for Spinal Tap. So they've decided to reunite for this epic reunion concert, and they need a drummer. So, but at first it's about Reiner doing another documentary style thing where he goes around and goes back to everybody and gets the band sort of back together for this and sees where they're at. Um, uh, I thought the glue museum was inspired. Just sort of one of those like randomly silly things. And yeah, this movie kind of moves from gag to gag, a little bit like the other film, except not quite as clever as the first one. That's kind of the thing with like legacy sequels now, is that um, there's a there's something there. There's a semblance of the thing that you used to like. Rarely are we getting a Top Gun Maverick every single time out of the gate where it's like, oh my God, you gave me a reason for being here. You know, sometimes it just feels like, don't you want to see the thing that you liked again? Do you? You know, like, we hadn't really thought about making a sequel to this or turning it into a franchise, but I guess we could because it has fans. So, that's kind of what's happening to Spinal Tap. It's very much like Happy Gilmore 2 in that it's not going to live up to the original one, and then how much you like it depends on what your expectations are of a Spinal Tap 2. How sacred you consider the first film to be versus what happens to them 40 years later. So oddly enough, I don't know why we couldn't have released this last year. So it was actually 40 years since the first one instead of 41. But they don't even go 41 years. They say the last time the band was together was like 2009. So it's like this film was supposed to be in 2024, but just got pushed back. Bleecker Street, I guess, just didn't release it in time. It does have audio description, which was nice. One of the big reasons to watch this, I guess, as a blind person, would be the fact that it's accessible. And it has a fun little bunch of cameos from a lot of really top-notch musicians across the different genres. You know, I mean, Garth Brooks is in here along with like Elton John, and then Lars Ulrich over the phone, I guess. You know, so sort of an assortment of fresh cameos from talent like that. I'm sure they probably could have opened it up even more, and I think more people would have shown up. I think if they had just sort of put like a call out to the music world, they would have gotten all sorts of cameos from people, and it could have turned into a mockumentary about how much Spinal Tap really is, uh, unintentionally, um, like this legacy group, right? I'm sure, they reference Eminem here. I'm sure Eminem would have done this, he would have shown up. I think he did Happy Gilmore too. Something I think he would have done Spinal Tap too, if I remember correctly. I think he's in Happy Gilmore too. So, I is it good? Yeah, I'm the beholder type stuff. It's really hard. I think critics are going to quantify this. Critics like me are going to try to say, and it's unnecessary. We never needed this to begin with. It fails to live up to the promise of the predecessor. It's not that there are jokes here that work. Like, it's not that there aren't set pieces that aren't funny. It's not that you won't laugh. The question is how much, and then what does it feel like for you sitting there realizing that they got the gang back together for something that didn't live up to the original? But also, were you the type of person that really thought Spinal Tap 2 was going to live up to the original or was going to surpass the original, when so many times these films don't? Um, I wouldn't even say like Clerks is a big thing for me, but Clerks 2 and Clerks 3 certainly don't surpass it. Uh, I think for the most part, we keep talking about like the Ghostbusters franchise, right? Are any of them ever better than the first? Have any of them surpassed Ghostbusters 2 even? I think it's a problem that we have with a lot of sequels. I prefer Back to the Future original over part 2 and part 3. The original Jurassic Park. Oftentimes you never beat the first thing, but a lot of times we don't have a problem continuing on with the franchise anyway. Sometimes you do, actually. Sometimes you rise to the occasion, and the second film ends up being a little bit better. Um, but generally, we're pretty used to declining quality in terms of sequels. Rarely do you have something that's like a Mission Impossible franchise where it starts off and somehow gets better, but and then declined again. But the peak of that franchise is in a weird place where it isn't for any other franchise. So I my review doesn't really indicate to you whether or not you would like Spinal Tap 2. Nobody's will, because how you feel about Spinal Tap 2 is really reflective about how you feel about this as Spinal Tap. For me, I did review the film last year for its 40th anniversary, although I haven't uploaded it to Rotten Tomatoes, so it doesn't have tomato meter score yet. But it would be somewhere in the nines, probably above 9.5, because I think that thing is a classic. It's a legend. It's an untouchable comedic classic. Uh, you know, so many people know about 11 without knowing where that came from. And I think if you can create something like that, like a special moment that sort of flies out from your film, automatically, I think that you've earned your place in cinema history somehow. I think there are a whole bunch of people who keep saying "Bye, Felicia" and don't know where that's from. You know, so uh, it's Spinal Tap 2 gonna create its own. I liked some of the stuff down at the end, the sort of, I guess you could say, like outtakes. I thought those were funnier than some of the jokes they made in the film. I am Springsteen going on Springenstein or something. I can't remember how he says it, but the allusion to Sound of Music, while pretending like that was a legitimate Bruce Springsteen biography. I but I can't. Did I like it? Yes. Would I recommend it? Yes. Would I recommend it to somebody who hadn't seen the original? No, because I look at you like you're weird and say, why didn't you see the original? Like, go see the original first. Get off my lawn. Uh, so, but yeah, you'll know whether or not this is for you or not. I think an IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic score, all those things are just sort of whatever. I mean, it's fan service. So only you know as a fan whether or not you've been serviced. That's true. You know whether or not you feel like it's lived up to your expectations. And for me, uh, I think it crosses the threshold of did I like it, but certainly no, it does not live up to the original. But it has plenty of fun moments in it and little gags along the way to keep it to where it's not just this like painful regurgitation. Happy Gilmore had some of those moments too, which is why I lean fresh on that too. But the gap between those two movies is profound. Between I mean, there's a pretty big gap in the scores. So there's gonna be a gap between these scores too. I'm gonna give Spinal Tap 2 7.1 out of 10. That's it. It's still fresh. So, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.